Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros radio show Action Edition, where we feature an actionable tip that you can use today. And I'm here with my old buddy Larry. And Larry, hey man, what's been going on?
John, the other day I did a job, and this was a relatively simple job. It's actually our tip for the day. So I was out, got a call from a friend of mine, and his mother actually needed their garage door, the hardware, their garage door opener had come unattached from the wall in the garage. And so I went to check this out, and as I looked at it, I thought, gosh, I know why this happened. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to talk to my old buddy John in the pre-show, and we're going to figure out how to give this out as a tip. So that's what has been going on with me. So, John, do you want to answer the tip, or should I answer it?
It's very common that this happens. When you operate your garage door, that thing is really there's a lot of shaking going on.
There's a whole lot of shaking going on, baby.
And it's that really does vibrate hardware, and it will tend to loosen things up. Yes. So if the hardware was not installed correctly,
which this was not,
it didn't have lock washers or lock nuts on it. This is very common. I've been on a job that the thing almost was coming off the ceiling. Right. And you really have to be careful. Okay. Yeah. Especially if you've got a car that you park underneath that thing, and you walk in and you hit the garage door opener and the whole thing falls down onto your car.
Not so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to ruin your day, right? So, yep. But the tip here is go out and inspect and make sure that all that hardware on your garage door opener and just generally around the garage door.
I'm not telling
you to do anything with your garage door, but just make sure that there's no obvious bolts that are loosening and backing themselves out, because this is a very common thing.
It's really common. And make sure, and the bolt that I'm referring to was actually into the wall. And what had happened is the original installer used a bolt that was too short, and it had pulled right out of the wall. And so it actually did, John. It fell down onto the top part of it fell down onto the bar that cuts across the garage door, and it was sitting there. So it was non-functional, is what it was. And it took me, it literally took me more time to get the ladder out to get up that high to put a bigger, longer lag screw into it to fix it. While I was there, I checked all of the garage door mounts so that there's the rails that the garage door is on. I checked to make sure they were all attached properly, and then I did what you said. I checked to make sure that all the nuts and bolts were tight. All in all, in and out in less than 30 minutes. It's not a big job. It just is. John, the garage door is the largest moving part in most people's houses. Right? So it's a big door, folks, and you do need to check it regularly. It doesn't mean you spend a lot of time, but just keep your eyes open. If something gets loose, tighten it up. It's really not that big a deal. So, anything else on that, John?
No, that's just it's something that a lot of people don't look at, and I think that it's a good tip to take a look at it now. We're getting into spring. Go on out and tighten up all the hardware.
Works for me.
Make sure that that thing doesn't come off the ceiling.
Works for me. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Handyman Pros. Join the conversation. Send us emails, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Handyman Radio. And we appreciate you listening. We will see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this podcast and have derived some value from it, here's 4 things you can do. 1, tell your friends about this podcast. 2, hit subscribe on your podcast player. While you're there, leave us a review. 3, subscribe to our newsletter by going to handymanprosradioshow.com and click on the subscribe button. We'll inform you of upcoming events, shows, and give you actionable tips for maintaining your home and property. And 4, send us an email with your questions to questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. That's handymanprosradioshow.com. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.